found an old guitar behind a lonely church door, broken like the boy I was, lying on the cold floor.
I grew up in a place where hope felt like a visitor who never stayed for long. My family had little, and I carried more worries on my shoulders than a boy should ever have to. One day, when I was around 12 years old, I found this guitar, old, cracked, and abandoned behind a church. Most people would have walked past it without a second thought, but something in me stopped. Something whispered, "Pick it up," so I did. And the first time my fingers touched these strings, it felt like the world finally made room for me to breathe. I didn't know any chords. I didn't know any songs. All I knew was that when I strummed it, even if it sounded terrible, I felt less alone. As the years passed, this guitar became the only friend that stayed when everything else left. There were nights I slept hungry, nights I walked miles just to find work, nights the cold felt like it could break my bones. But no matter how dark those nights were, the guitar was always there. I would hold it close enough to feel the wood warm from my hands, and I would play whatever my heart could not say in words. And somehow, God would give me enough strength to wake up and try again. People asked me how I survived those years. The truth is, I didn't survive because I was strong. I survived because this guitar carried the pieces of me that I couldn't carry myself. Every scratch you see on it, every dent, every faded mark belongs to a moment that shaped me. Some were made on days when I had nothing to give, when I felt forgotten, when the world felt too big and I felt too small. Others were made on days when I found a little hope, a little light, a reason to keep going. There was a night. I remember it more clearly than any other, when I was sitting alone behind that same church where I found the guitar. I had lost my job, lost my home, and I felt like I had lost my place in the world. I started playing without even thinking about it, and as I played, a little girl walked up to me. She couldn't have been more than 5 or 6. She sat beside me, listened for a moment, and then she smiled. The kind of smile only children have, the kind that believes everything can be healed. She said, "Mister, your music feels like morning." I didn't know what to say. But those words broke something open inside me, something heavy I had carried for too long. From that night on, I made myself a promise. If my music could make even one person feel a little less alone, then I would keep playing, no matter what it cost me. And I stand here now. After a lifetime of mistakes, disappointments, blessings, and miracles, and I realized something. This guitar didn't just save me. It taught me who I was. It taught me who I was. It taught me how to listen, how to feel, how to forgive. Taught me that every person carries a story, and sometimes all they need is a sound. One simple sound, to feel understood. So when you hear me play today, don't just hear the notes. Hear the years, hear the nights, hear the prayers whispered into the strings. Hear the boy who had nothing and the old man who learned that nothing can become everything when you put faith into it. This guitar, this story, they are all I have ever truly owned. And if sharing them brings even one heart a moment of peace, then these 4 minutes have been worth a lifetime.
I found an old guitar behind a lonely church door, broken like the boy I was, lying on the cold floor. But when I touched the wood, the world began to breathe. A whisper in the silence said, "Hold on, stay with me." Every scar on these strings is a moment I survived. Every faded line reminds me I'm still alive. So I play, 'cause the music held me when the world felt far away. I pray that the sound of these strings turns your night into day. If you hear my heart inside this melody, then you're hearing the strings of my story. Nights I slept hungry, I played to kill the pain. Cold winds broke my body, but the song kept me sane. A little girl once told me your music feels like morning light, and her tiny words lifted me through the darkest night. Every crack in this wood has a memory inside. Every trembling chord is a tear I never cried. So I play, 'cause the music held me when the world felt far away. I pray that the sound of these strings turns your night into day. If you hear my heart inside this melody, then you're hearing the strings of my story. If you're broken, sit beside me. Let the quiet guide us home. We are made of fragile pieces no one ever sees alone. Let the music be the shelter where your weary soul can stay. Let the song remind you gently you'll survive another day. So I play, 'cause this old guitar still knows the words I cannot say. I pray that the hope in these notes never fades away. If you feel your heart heal through this melody, then you're living inside the strings of my story. The strings of my story. I found an old guitar behind a lonely church door. Broke